morning, ladies and gentlemen, David here, and welcome back to another Atlus news video. And this one is going to be focused on Persona 5 The Phantom X, which over the weekend, PerfectWorldGames and Atlus hosted a first year anniversary for P5X. Think about it for a second. So if you're in the West, if you're outside of China or Japan, there's no official way to play that game in English still, and the game is a year old. Which is a bummer. I know a lot of people who are looking forward to playing the game, myself included, or at least giving it a shot. Just to give the game a brief introduction, if you have not heard of it before, it's a gacha game made by PerfectWorldGames in collaboration with Atlus. So you have some Atlus staff working on the game, but it's mainly PerfectWorldGames, which got the license to do Persona 5 with their own title. Game looks super cool. I made a video a while back, months ago, saying that hey, it looks too good to just be a mobile and PC gacha game. PerfectWorldGames is talking a lot. They are talking a lot and giving a lot of details, and it's I'll be honest, it's a little bit confusing to try and see what's their plan with the game. So I tuned into the anniversary live stream that they hosted over the weekend, and we got a lot of great reveal that are just making me want to play the game some more. But we also got another confirmation about the global release or English worldwide release of Persona 5 The Phantom X. And I don't want to waste you guys' time. I think this is why most of y'all are here today. Before we get into the news about the game itself, let's talk about that. So during the presentation, we have some of the developers working on the title, explaining what they worked on, saying that they were very busy with, again, some of the news that we'll discuss in just a second. And they said explicitly that, hey, they are still working with the preparation for an overseas release. So they are indeed still working on Persona 5 The Phantom X. The game is a year old, but they're still planning to release the game worldwide. And I don't want to make this video into an essay of why it makes sense, but it makes a ton of sense. So many people played the beta. We're talking millions of people. It's a gacha game. They are getting money from players to play that game. It's a free game with microtransactions, right? That's what gacha games are. Think of a Genshin Impact, for example, which again, I don't play that game, so this might be a bad example, but I think it's something along those lines. Or Shin Megami Tensei Liberation DX2 that you can play on mobile. Lots of gacha stuff in there. You can buy ways to get new demons, you know? I don't remember how it's called. I played that game years ago. So P5X is certainly that type of game. It's still planned for a worldwide release. It is still planned for an English release. During the live stream, though, they didn't mention another thing that some people are looking forward to, which is a console release for that game. They previously mentioned that. They previously said that they've heard that there is demand and request for a console version, just console. They didn't mention any platform, but just a console version of that game in general, which makes sense because Persona started on consoles, right? And it's still going on currently on consoles in modern age, so it makes sense, but they didn't mention it. All they said was that they've been busy with everything that I'll mention is in a sec, and that they're also in preparation for an overseas release. So no detail about the launch. No, again, it's what I've been speculating. We're gonna wake up one day and the game's gonna be on Steam in the West. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like boom, a random drop out there. So whenever they do these streams, these anniversary streams or thing, I'm always tuning in. So if you want to stay up to date on all things P5X English or P5X worldwide, just consider subscribing and ring that notification bell. But otherwise, let's get into the other stuff that they talked about, because there is a lot coming to P5X, which again, it just makes me want to play the game. And the big thing that they announced during this anniversary live stream that is actually very freaking good is a collaboration with Nestle. No, I'm just kidding. Not too sure. Well, this is actually a real collaboration, but I'm not too sure what they're doing here with this. The big thing that they announced is a collaboration between Persona 5X and Persona 3 Reload. So that little game that you can see right there on my shelf, they are collaborating with the game. They got the rights to that game as well, and they confirmed that we're gonna get playable cease members in Persona 5X. So you're going to be able to play with some of your favorite characters from Persona 3 Reload. So that is very, very freaking cool. Mitsuru, Junpei, Makoto, anyone, you are going to be able to recruit these Persona users from Cease in Persona 3 Reload, and they showed the model for Makoto, the protagonist. Looks great, nothing else yet. They also unveil a brand new Phantom Thief joining the fray for this title, a Fort Palace, which is kind of like the dungeons in that game. So Again, I have not played P5X, so I don't really know how the game is structured, but looking at that new Phantom Thief, looking at that new dungeon, and I'm just like, man, I really wish this game was available in the West and was playable in English, because I would be here reporting on all new content for that title for y'all if you guys are interested about it, for sure. Speaking of, I should definitely make a new poll talking about P5X. It's been a year. I know that after seeing gameplay and stuff, people were like, oh man, this looks pretty cool. I recently made a little YouTube shorts comparing P5X to Persona 5 and how it looks, and visually speaking, it's cool. Some of the art, it shows that it's not Sojima and his team, right? It's different a little bit. It doesn't look as unique and as original, in my opinion, but in general, the game looks super dope. And I'm someone who doesn't play on both the platforms that the game's coming out on, so I'm not a PC gamer, and I'm certainly not a mobile gamer either, and I'm still looking forward to it. So what do you guys think about Persona 5 the Phantom X? When do you think they're going to reveal it? We're right now in a span of time where Atlus is dropping news, right? The first 3 months of the year have been super calm. Last week, I'm still very excited and stoked about RAIDOU Remastered. I made an everything you need to know video about the game as well, so if you want to check that out and hear all the details about that new title, check it out. We're about to have the Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct presentation, and I expect Atlus to show up with minimum one thing, which could just be a port, but I expect them to show up. So we're in the middle of news, and then we have PerfectWorldGames just reconfirming that we're getting an English version for that game. It's a good time to be an Atlus fan right now, and we'll have to wait and see what happens during the Switch 2 thing. But we know, just keep that in mind, we know that Atlus and Sega said that this year would be a slower year than last year. So I don't expect as many reveals to show up, but at least a little thing or two on top of what we already have with RAIDOU, and again, an eventual Persona 5X global launch. So what do you guys think about the topics that I discussed today? The link to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is going to be in the video description. I plan on going live an hour before the main show, so it should certainly be very fun and very entertaining. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. I hope you guys have a great day and a great week. Bye.